Okay, well, I'll get into Unity. So, like I said, it's been like a crazy month. So, but I still wanted to have the talk. I kind of was back and forth on whether we should just do a social thing or whatever. But I can kind of get up here and start talking. And if anybody did anything with Unity already? Played with it at all?
I tried to install it and it did not accomplish that.
That's not good. I was surprised, like I said, that it ran on this and I could get it to install and everything. You have a Mac or PC?
I have a PC. It turned out I only had like 1 gigabyte left of memory. So
okay.
That's my fault.
That might be it, yeah. But,
how big is the Unity?
Huh?
How big is the Unity package?
I don't know.
I think
It's probably
needed
similar.
at least 2 gigabytes
2
to
gig.
install.
Yeah, it's pretty big. But, so Unity is a, well, it's an engine and a development tool set that they're basically trying to, I forget how they put it, but like unify game development across everything. So one thing is, bring it to the masses, so it's either, free, low cost, that kind of thing, engine, so everybody can afford to use their tools and make games. But then also that it works across lots of different platforms. So Unity has grown in a lot in, let's say, even the last year. So they now support a PC and Mac. They support Web's Player, which is, there's a Unity plugin, just like a Flash plugin, and people can play the games in the browser with that. There are rumors that they are going to support like exporting to Flash. Because one of the things is like Unreal Engine is supposedly going to do that too. So then there's obviously iOS, so mobile, iPhone, iPad, Android, and then they also support Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii. So it's a really nice, at least when you're getting to start out, you have a small team. If you learn the environment, then you can scale up and you make something for the PC and Mac, and then it catches the eye of a publisher. You could, port it over to Xbox, those things, consoles, essentially. So, with those PC and Mac, I think Web Player is free. I need to check, but I think it's up to a certain dollar amount. And then you have to buy the Pro version or something, which is a few $100. It's like, $300 or something.
Even I think they have one, the cross-platform is like 1,000.
Yeah, it's for all. Yeah.
But I mean, for an engine and a development, that's almost nothing.
Yeah, especially for the quality of these tools, like, you would spend, tens of thousands, $100,000.
Unreal used to be $1 million for a
yeah,
license.
like for Unreal or something, it's like $1 million for one of those engines. And so what they're really trying to get all these people, all these developers, and so then like iOS, Android, those mobile, you have to pay a couple $100 again for those pieces. But it's the same toolkit, but you're just able to build and export. I need to add my license, and then I can build and export to those devices. I saw a demo of the mobile one. It's really cool because you can you have your iPhone and be like playing the game on your iPhone, and it's actually like rendering it on the PC or Mac, and it's actually kind of, you can change things here, and it auto. It basically, I think, is just sending video.
Like an online type thing?
On online, I think so, from the PC to the mobile device. So you can be changing stuff on the development tool and not have to like build and deploy to the device. And then I haven't done any or heard much about the console stuff because that's going to be probably more. I don't think they divulge any of those prices, but I would think it's in the thousands of dollars or something to do that. But if you're got a licensing agreement with those things, it's probably not a big deal. So, okay, so this is the Unity kind of development environment, and so this is the scene, and you're able. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Just to make sure people know, like, all that stuff we're talking about the cost, that's literally when you start charging people money.
Right.
Like, so if you're wanting to just kind of, like, say you're a student or something, or you're just, an amateur or whatnot, you can make a total full game it can be completely operational and you could have paid nothing.
But I think
You could
it's
show that to like a job applicant or something
Right,
like that. As soon as you start having customers and charging money, then you have to pay for a license, at least for the PC.
I thought it was like up to $50,000.
Yeah.
So it's
right.
so
There's
it's
a certain
free
amount.
up until $50,000 or
Right.
something, and then at $50,000 of income, you have to pay
Right.
for the pro version.
I think that's an acknowledgement of the fact that they
Yeah.
know that you can easily sell it small scale and they
Right.
never notice.
Right.
I think they're kind of trying to like go wink and a nod to that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, their philosophy again is to try to get it out to the masses. Game development as a for everyone.
Right.
Is their slogan. So I think it's like
Right.
it's
Which
cheap.
sounds touchy-feely, and sometimes to me that would make me nervous about using it because
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's not a viable business to be that
Right.
touchy-feely. But there's a good business purpose. Just like Flash has
Yeah.
like 99% market penetration. Like they want people to have that Flash, this Unity plugin installed in their browsers, so that then it encourages more people to make professional games because then more people will already have the thing installed.
Right. Yeah. It's
So
like
there's
if
good
you make a
reasons for it.
game and you start making money, then you might go make a console game,
Right.
and then you're going to use their engine for the console. So it's definitely they want you to. I mean, that's why Unreal went free, so you can download that and all these different engines. I think Crytek is free now too, so you can download it, start playing with it, and then if you get a successful game, then you pay some revenue to it. So. So we've got the development environment here, and so this is the scene, and it's got all kinds of objects in here. So that's kind of the scene tab, and what's cool is that it also has the game kind of in the development environment, and so I'm able to run around and I can pause this. I think I can run it side by side. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. So I can actually be in here and be looking at, they're updating it at the same time. So if I go back here and, let's see, this runs. So as you can see, they're both the sort of the development scene on the right and the actual game on the left is kind of together being updated. And so I can go in here and select things and see the state of things. I can actually, I can move things. And then I play again, or not. Or, anyway, let's go back here. So you can update, and actually what I've heard from some developers is they like to test things out, like if they're doing the physics and stuff like that, that they can just kind of play with it actually in the designer, and just change things and see how it reacts, and before they even have code going.
So are the raindrops just a particle emitter or something?
Probably, I don't actually know, but most likely it's probably a particle emitter or something, a shader effect, where it's not like physical objects in the scene, it's just kind of an effect. But so you can just move around. Oh, let's go back over here. Move around with your like right click, and it's movement of your kind of your perspective. And you basically can select the objects, and these are light sources, for example, and you can go through and really do all kinds of cool effects with fog and lighting and some really interesting things that I definitely, as a programmer, I'm not going to be good at. Okay, what else we got? So in the scene, we've got the player here, and there's sort of a hierarchy of objects. And so this is all the objects on the right, this is all the objects in the scene, and so I've got like my player. When I select that, what's cool is like you can hit F, I think, F? Maybe not. And it zooms into, I think I selected a box. There it goes. So you hit F and it will find that object, so it's really handy if you've got a big scene. But so if you got this player, and this player is actually a hierarchy of lots of different things. So it's got like an audio component, or audio object. It's got the player. It's got, let's see, here's where they actually have the weapon, because, let's see. You can see it's got the weapon selected, so that's the actual weapon. So you can do pickup, where you pick up different weapons. And then there's different effects. So there's like the muzzle flash is one object. And so they're basically connected. So as things move around, as the player moves around, it moves all the connected hierarchy objects. Let's see. And then in the project, we've got all the things that make up this project. All the scripts, all the code, all the scene objects, the models, the animations, the sounds, all that. So we've got sounds here, we've got textures, we've got some objects, enemies, here's all this stuff. So this is a pretty complicated example project. So let's see, any questions there on that stuff? Kind of running through fast. So the third part is where you inspect the particular object. So, for example, the player has, let's go back here, has different components, as they call it. So objects have certain properties, and then you can attach components that do certain functionality to that object. And so the components are really the behavior or changes in how that object really works in your game. So everybody has a transform object or transform component, which is really just where does it exist in space. So like, let's see if I can get it. So there's a local scale, there's a position, and then rotation. And so that's how you basically describe where things are in space. But then it has other things. So like a capsule collider is how it describes the collision on that object. It's got a rigid body, so it's going to have a physics properties to it. And then here are, so those are standard kind of components that are in Unity. And then you can code your own for the particular game. And so that's what they did in this game. So they have a free movement motor script, which is a component that basically lets you move around. It has like how fast you run and how smooth it is. We've got movement, which is dealing with the joystick and the cursor and distance and stuff like that, which is that, I think it's that targeting reticle that you saw. Then we've got a health component, so that tells how much health the player has, whether they're dead or not. And then we've got a spawn checkpoint component, footsteps, flash health. So all those kind of do different things. And when you combine them all, it allows you to make a really dynamic object. And the benefit of that, kind of from a programming perspective, it used to be that you would have like a root object, and then you would derive all your classes from that, and keep adding functionality. But the problem was that if you ever wanted to change things or branch things, or this is sort of this object, but it doesn't do this, it became really a bunch of mess to really manage all those different sort of behaviors and manage when you, like, if I'm adding health, but they're invulnerable at certain times. Well, that's kind of this weird exception, and it adds complexity to that. So what a lot of engines are starting to do is take this component-based approach, where I just add a health thing, and that just deals with health, and it can just kind of be a simple component or behavior that I add to this object. And then when you combine them all, you get really cool stuff. So that's sort of been a new kind of a change in approach to developing games.
So are all these scripts already pre-written?
So some of these are. So like the collision thing, the rigid body, those are all like physics-based components that are in the Unity engine. And what I'll do is I'll load in an object to kind of show you how you can create those. But then some of these other ones, like let's look at this one. Thank you, come on. Edit script. So this is a component that they wrote specifically for this game, and so this is what the programmer is going to do, is write these components. And so, you know, as you can see, we've got let's go back over here. So we've got walking speeds, snappiness, smoothing, and so that's kind of parameters around the behavior. And so what they did is you would define sort of these different properties in your component. And so the idea there is that when you expose them as like public properties on that component, in the editor, I can change those things. So you kind of make a general purpose movement component like this one, and then when it's a boss, he's going to move really slow, and then when it's the player, maybe they move really fast. And so all that's doing, so as the designer, like somebody making levels and making gameplay, all they have to do is adjust these values. And that you can do right in here. And so I think you can actually just, yes, I can scroll it left and right and change the values, or I can type them in, and it's going to significantly change my gameplay. So let's see if I can do this. And one of the cool things is I should be able to change these at runtime. So that's how fast I move now. And let's do 60. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, so that's what you can do, is you can adjust these values while the game is running and see, oh, okay, this guy's moving too slow, let me change some values, and then you can say, yeah, that's what I like, and save it. And it kind of, when you hit play, it lets you start changing things, and then when you stop playing, it resets it back. So you can try some things and then reset it back. So and so that's the idea when you're designing these components, is you want to make things configurable so that I don't have to rewrite this component. Like I don't have to make a slow movement component or a fast movement component. I can just have properties that are specific to how it moves, and let the designer, the person making the level, change those things on the object. Okay.
Now those scripts were all in JavaScript, is that right? But you can use also C# and there's a bunch of different ones you're allowed to use.
I'm trying to see if I can find it out here.
Python, I think, too, right?
Yeah, Python, C#, JavaScript, I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, they basically support lots of different programming languages.
Right. That's another thing that's really cool about it, the fact that
Yeah.
there's some people who know Python, there's some people who know C#,
Right.
and they love it, and you can, it supports them all.
Right. So, kind of going back to this, so like you see, you can define your different properties, and then you've got your functions that get called. And so you're really able to kind of focus on particular behaviors and then combine them just when you attach them all to the same object.
So movement motor is like one of the basic classes that it's already in Unity?
No, it's in this particular project.
Oh, like it said that extended it.
Oh, did it extend? Let's go look. You might be right. So movement motor might
Is that
be
something
a...
they wrote, or is there something that...
I don't know. That could be a one that they've written.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
like... And that's why they call it the free movement motor, because
Right.
it's not... it might be a little
There's
too
a way to
much.
jump. Yeah. I would think maybe there's a way to jump to that
Is
definition.
that
but-
their editor, or are you in like some other...
Yeah, so this is their editor, and as you saw, what you can do is...
But you can use whatever, right?
Yeah, you can use whatever, because really, if you go look at this, scripts and movement, is there there's movement motor. So they implemented it.
Yeah, they wrote it.
So it's a thing specific for this game, and I think it. Again, I'm just getting used to learning this stuff, but the ones with the icons are kind of the ones that are built in, and then these are scripts that are actually written for this game. But so in the project, we've just got these files, and yeah, you can use Notepad or whatever TextMate or whatever you want to develop on it. But I think there's a lot of stuff like building and debugging. They support debugging things and inside the game. So I would think the majority of people use this development tool because I can do all that stuff. I can step through lines in the code, and actually the way it works, it's really like you saw how I can change the values of the component while it's running. I can change the code while it's running too, and so you can see things update and kind of change because it's all scripted and interpreted things, and there's sort of a delay where it kind of compiles or whatever, but you're able to change behaviors. And same thing goes for like models and art. So if I have a model and then I want to open it up in 3D Studio Max, I can go in there and change the model, and then it just kind of auto updates in the scene. Same thing for like textures, and they really, it's kind of getting back to that iterative development process where you make something, you get it on the screen, you start playing with it, and you're like, oh, okay, that's cool, and then I'm going to go change some more code, and then you switch back to the game, and then you play more, or you can change a model, or change the texture, change the lighting, and it, you can just keep iterating and building up.
What kind of model formats does it accept?
So I know they support FBX, and I think most modeling things let you export to FBX, and I thought that you could actually drop in like Maya or 3D Studio Max models, and I haven't been able to find whether that's true or not.
I think it's through FBX.
So you got to have FBX, but I think there's some integration that they've tried to do so that you could be over there in 3D Studio Max and literally just save or whatever, and then it updates here. And it might be that when you save, it just auto exports, or you set it up in Unity to export automatically. But again, it's that idea that you can be changing stuff, and you could have 3D Studio Max and Unity open, and you just change something in Max, and then it updates the model. It really just the game Unity just picks it up and just goes with the new model.
People build many 2D games in Unity?
So that's so it's primarily a 3D engine, right?
Right.
And one of the cool things about Unity is that they've added, and I don't know if this is going to work, they've added sort of an asset store. And an asset store is where you can, like they did here, they wrote some script or they wrote something, and then they're able to put it up in a marketplace. And what somebody's done, I have to go look up the names again, but there's a couple of 2D development kind of plugins for Unity that are out there that you can get. I think they're either free or really low cost that help you do 2D. And so the way you do 2D is that it's essentially a orthographic camera, like side view, and it's still 3D, but your layers, or your objects are like have no depth, and then your camera is just kind of going back and forth and doesn't have a perspective. And some people have actually done, it's a 2D gameplay, but it's 3D. That's a pretty popular approach for like iPhone games. So you get all the 3D special effects and cool stuff with a model, and then you're able to have 2D gameplay, like a platformer or something. So yeah, they've done 2D, but that's only been recent, and really with these new plugins that you can go get, it's been popular. So some people have
the camera. Whatever,
it kind of helps freeze the camera, and it helps like deal with sprite sheets. So if you're dealing with like if you're doing models, it's not that hard.
Right.
If you're doing 3D stuff, because you can just block the camera, and it helps just with that. But you're still viewing 3D objects.
Right.
When you're dealing things with like a 2D hand-drawn thing or a rendered animation, then dealing with sprite sheets and like moving the animation frame and all that, that's not necessarily something they do in Unity, because they were thinking, hey, you have a 3D model and you'll animate that 3D model with the bone structure, but you won't. That's not exactly what you would do for a 2D sprite, right? So that's where these new components come on, and from what I hear, they're pretty good, and people are using a lot of, or they're using it to do some production stuff.
Can you export those assets after you build them? Like, say that you have a 2D stroller and those kind of things. Can you export it to where like you can make an HTML5 component for it?
Not really. So Unity basically builds to whatever the platforms that I talked about that they support, and so they might, who knows? I mean, I don't know. They might do a WebGL HTML5 export in the future, but who knows? I think they're at least right now trying to target Flash so that they can export that way. Yeah.
So that web player export thing, is that people have to have a Unity plugin?
Right, so you go to the web page and it's just like Flash. If you don't have Flash installed, it says, hey, install this, click it, and it downloads it from the Adobe site. It does the same thing with Unity Web Player. So I think Cartoon Network is probably the most well-known. So a lot of their games on the Cartoon Network for their shows and stuff are Unity-based games, and you just go on there and it says, hey, install a plugin, and you can run it. So, but I think, again, there are rumors that they're trying to export to Flash so that they don't have to deal with that extra plugin.
Yeah, but you can't. But the problem is you can't like download Unity. You would just get the iOS version, right?
Right. Yeah. So if you wanted to support iOS, Android, you got to build to that device, and then you can put it up in the App Store. And luckily, it used to be like iOS, their license agreement wouldn't let you export, like build something, like take Unity and build to iOS, but that's changed just recently. So you can use these third-party tools and build and not have to write it in Xcode or whatever. You can use other development tools.
One of the benefits of that export to Flash, and one of the reasons they're doing that too, is let's say you're a game maker and you know that most of your users have Flash. You might want your people to play it in Unity, but you export to Flash as well, and then you give people the option, but then you try to graduate them up to the Unity. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of a way, because every game developer knows that when they come to your site, every step the player has to take is another chance for them to leave your site. You know, whether it's installing a plugin, or registering, or email verification, or a CAPTCHA, or whatever. Like each one of those little things, you're going to lose some percentage of all the people that come. So if you put up there like, hey, you can install Unity and play the full high definition version, or you can click here and play our Flash version. A lot of people will just play the Flash version, but then you can encourage them like, hey, do you want the better version of this game?
Yeah, and I've seen where people have made games in Unity and they do the web plugin, right? And then they're like, hey, buy the full, PC Mac version, right? And it's really exactly the same game.
Right.
But it's sort of this weird thing where people want to, like, if they're going to pay, they want to download it.
Right.
And they want to feel like they have this new game experience. And actually it's been kind of really profitable for them to offer that kind of full downloadable version. They might have a trial or a limited version or a free version that's just in the browser, and then they kind of upsell them to that downloadable one.
Yeah, and having the Flash export is going to be huge for encouraging that, because everybody has Flash installed pretty much.
Like 99% or something.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so let me try to add some stuff to this scene. So
is this game called Clearance?
No, this is called Angry Bots. Did I show you the bots? You kind of hop around here. Let's play it.
Oh.
So there's the bots, and got some explosions and stuff, and it probably is just an effect. The rain.
Rain, like shade up there.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
So this is a pretty pretty well defined, mature, or really well developed game. It's a kind of a nice showpiece for what you can do. And so I've just, like, when I've been developing and learning stuff, oh wow. Just exploring sort of a game that somebody else has made is really cool. So you can see what they've done. Alright, so let me, oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So JavaScript, C#, Boo, a shade, so you can write shaders, prefab. Oh, let me talk about prefabs real quick. So prefabs are, so say you make a component, or you have an object, and then you attach all these components, and you're like, awesome, this is a really nice bot, right? And I want to like have 10 of these guys coming after the player. What you're able to do is define it as a prefab. I'm actually kind of blanking on how to do that, but I think you, yeah.
Can you change the camera perspective to first person? Like, do you know much enough about Unity to do that? Because I'm curious to see how much of a change in gameplay you would get just from changing your perspective.
Probably a lot. So we can test it out and try it out.
Can you do it up there on that little, yeah, not in the corner, but like, no, right up, down. Right in front of the screen, yeah, right there, up,
In the corner of the
This.
viewport.
Yeah, right there.
So this is how you can change your
Camera view, right?
camera view in this, right?
Oh,
In my
okay, it's
design.
not in the.
It's not in the actual game. So the game, like has a camera. It should have a camera.
Main camera.
Main camera, and then it's gonna have components on it that do stuff. Show first person. There we go.
You don't say.
I wonder if I could do.
I never knew that scripts like did stuff.
So that would be like I said, we're taking an example with like this, which has a lot of cool stuff, and then playing with it where you add change the camera, change the.
I didn't know there was a checkbox next to it.
Is there a checkbox just to go to the show?
Oh.
There's some gears over there to the right.
Oh, that's frames per second,
That's
probably.
just gonna be right.
What's the gears to the right, John?
Gears to the right.
Yeah,
This.
there.
This is edit script.
Oh
move
yeah, so that's
component.
all the stuff that you are doing with the right click anyway.
Right, and then so I can, yeah. So that's just probably frames per second to show how fast the game is running. I don't know. We could definitely look at it, and that'd be a good like, hey, how can we change this?
So camera is a built-in component.
Yeah, camera is a certain type of object. So let's go look at. I'm gonna import a new model. So I made this folder test, and I'm going to import a new asset, and say we've got this head model, and so here we've got the game, and I've added this polygon this model, and I think I can go over here, and so there's a preview of that.
So where is it?
Where's what?
Where is that?
So I just added it to the project, and it's just this is a new resource that I can use in the game. And so then, if I want to actually put it out there, I can just drag it out, and it's there in the game. If I go over here, and let's see. So I think it needs to be, it's a smaller model, so here, let's do. Yeah.
Super creepy.
Super creepy. Yeah, this is Richie just gave me this model and he had it. So okay, so I think I actually put it inside the box. So
He's in
Grab
timeouts.
that red arrow and pull it back.
yeah. So how do I shift? Here, maybe I
Now you
can.
should like make it turn and open its mouth and eat the dude.
Oh, it's a lot like mine.
So there's the head, right? And so we've just added it to the scene. And what we can do is then add some components to that. So we can add a rigid body physics. And so now it's got, physics, and it'll use gravity, and really it has mass, and you can change the mass of it if it's a really heavy thing. And then we can go under physics and add, you need to decide how, just adding mass will just have it fall, right? Because it's just going to apply gravity. But then you need to have it collide with things, so like the floor. How is it going to collide with the floor? There's different types. So if it's a box, it's a really simple shape, and that's going to be a faster collision detection. It's going to be faster in performance than testing every single, in the mesh collider. We're going to test every single, polygon in the mesh. We'll go ahead and add the mesh polygon.
What are you gonna clear about
It's not going to be too
performance?
bad. I don't care, because it's going to be fast enough. So really, that's my object in the scene, and then if I should be able to test this out. Let's see. So there's the head, and it kind of goes around. It doesn't have a bottom, so that's why you can kind of see through it.
Can you
But
shoot it?
yeah, so I got to shoot it.
Oh, it's dope.
Watching John shoot, go into the.
Or Buster.
So you can see.
That should be a game. Just
It's got, so, a really cool example would be basically,
Yeah, you have like little holes you gotta shoot the head in.
Do like soccer players.
would be like just a 3D Angry Birds, right? Where you could just throw a ball and you've got different
Throw heads.
throw heads. Yeah.
No, let's call it heads of state, and let's put all the presidents' heads, and like throw presidents' heads.
That's weird. It went through this. But
Osama bin Laden and like Saddam Hussein. all
Start
at
it
the same
over.
time.
So one of the
Saddam, yeah, all of them, all the dead.
one of the cool things was that
Throw Hitler in
it does all the lighting too. So it's
yeah.
you can see all the lighting.
You'll
on the
make $1
model.
million.
And
So
so
you want to throw Barack Obama's head?
you can really just kind of play
Maybe
with it.
grab like George Bush by the
Oh,
ears
they
and
grabbed
throw
my head on video.
Let's go.
So what would you need to do to make it so it would collab with the box? Any idea?
Actually, I have no idea.
these white dudes guys.
Give it
It would be this big and it would be
give
this
it a lot more
big.
mass.
Okay.
Because she has a big-
Yeah, just see other physics.
I was gonna go here. Did I add it to the?
Hey, the head is dope. Put some more mass on it and see what happens. No, put less mass on it. Can you change the gravity?
So there's probably a way to change gravity, but
And put a wood texture on it.
so that's what I was trying. I don't even remember how to.
It couldn't take
There's
it.
mass.
Oh,
The
there
rigid body.
Mass is in the rigid body.
Oh yeah, I was gonna try
But that's
to,
good because he wasn't doing
add a
that.
texture to it.
So
So if
When
we
it
go
stopped.
back, let's go back.
I'm just saying it just couldn't take anymore. No, he looks like he's like
Okay.
a part of this. Look at how he looks.
But it,
Let's get a sample material. I don't. Yeah, like I said, I'm just getting used to it.
It's the
But
John bot.
we're able to. You can add a texture and editors where you can skin things
Give
and
him a
line it
soul
up. and
patch,
everything.
like Howie Mandel.
All right, so we want to give it more mass.
Yeah,
See what that does.
see what happens. Can you change the gravity?
So gravity is probably a constant in the
of
game
course, yeah.
configuration, and probably.
It's-
so there is an option to turn it off.
Oh, you can't
Yeah,
shoot
so I
it
can
now.
turn it.
Yeah,
Well, it's shooting it. It's
but
just
it don't have.
it
Yeah.
doesn't have enough power to kind of move it.
Can he move with his body?
Let's see.
Oh no, it's like a rock.
Yeah.
Can you stand on that?
Easter Island head. After
So I should be able to. I think it'll let me run off.
it moved a little bit.
There you go. It's moving a little
Oh,
bit.
there you go.
It kind of wobbles.
wobble
But-
wobble.
So then let's just change that to be like point.
So are those pools of water? Yep, that looks like pools of water. Right?
And then it's gone.
It could just be.